Welcome to Stone Soup Poetry. I'm Chad at still at Parts Unknown, just a different new angle of our home. The painting, in case you can't see and can't squint, is actually Psycho Pug, a painting by Deb Priestley, a longtime friend of the soup. So we're very glad. We're very glad more people are being represented in the back. I'll throw more books and things as I solidify a new spot. And let's see. Yes, we have a wonderful feature tonight. Galluccio is our feature. Appropriate poet for the Halloween month, and next week we'll be closing out with Rick McIntyre. So hopefully we'll be keeping that fall vibe going all the way down until it's time for Christmas break. And I'm looking forward to making more announcements, hopefully by the end of this week. And hopefully Rick McIntyre's information will go up by tomorrow. But tonight it's Lowe's time, and it's Savannah Barbara Press's time, because she has a new collection out from Savannah Barbara, another longtime ally of the poetry world, founded by Gloria Mindock. I'm gonna send Gloria a link just in case she can make it. It's an excellent time to be a poet. A lot of new releases this year. A lot of new releases by friends of Stone Soup. And David Crenshaw is just listening tonight. Welcome, and we'll take it from there. And hopefully, some more friends are going to be joining us as Stone Soup continues to go through the Zoom world. We made some really nice connections this month, and hopefully they'll be returning back. God, what else to say? Well, thanks to Richard Spizak for spreading the word, and thanks to other of our allies all around the East Coast and beyond. Hopefully some of our friends from the West Coast and elsewhere are going to be joining us back. But now we have the open mic, and hopefully we'll have more guests coming as we're going to be. I'm going to be in talks with a friend from Fisher College to hopefully have at least a quarterly, if not monthly, event for Stone Soup. And I hope the person I have chosen for the first event says yes. I'm looking very forward to approaching them when things are solidified. And if they say yes, it's going to be one of the better shows of the new year coming. Up first, from the Randonator 5000, I've picked a selection of poets who are guaranteed to be first because they have no choice, as I read from the list. Tonight we have Jan Rowe of the Poetry Power couple, Jan Rowe and James Van Looy, back since the end of September from their trip abroad, and it's good to have them back on again. Jan, come on down.
Okay, it's coming through. This is called Place. Rosa Curian Center, Haarlem, the Netherlands. When? September 2023. I had been sitting in this Haarlem bookstore at a provided reading table with this book called Mysteries and Challenges of Birth, Life, and Death, Becoming a New Human Being. And I was enjoying seeing scripture and commentary on it. I asked to use the water closet before leaving and found out how big the Rosa Curian Center is. I passed through where the book I had been reading was actually printed, and the smell of probably the ink caused me to purchase this book, and the smell of ink transported me back to childhood. We would be standing in the driveway where huge rolls of paper had been delivered earlier that morning for the small town daily, Brownsville Telegraph, about 15,000 or so copies a day, every day except Sunday. We usually had bicycles, a few bicycles. We would get our dad's attention through the large windows with smaller panes as he tended his beloved 6 linotypes, dropping hot lead type. The reason we waited in the driveway, it was an active printing press with large moving parts and hot lead, some boundaries. We waited before entry. What were we waiting for? To see if Dad had nickels or dimes for Fiddle's Confectionery across the parking lot. 1 scoop of ice cream was a dime, 2 for 15. Some candy bars were a nickel, like popsicles. Now the area is post-industrial, most not cleaned up, blackened environs everywhere. Now there is no daily, no weekly. Now the population only about 1/3 of when I was my first 22 years there. Grateful I grew up when I did. Didn't realize the transients, like now, difficult to realize transients. The Dutch Sparn 42 house where we spent a fortnight has housed 25 generations since 1450 or so. Andy Duff Aston, born in 26, has given me about 7 generations back to Oswald Stewart Twizzle, 1660s on the Scottish border or thereabouts. As the copy manor, enormous books frequently write. It's hard for humans to grasp. We're just passing through. What's a century in millennium? Thank you. I've been working on it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jan. And up next, going through the full spectrum of energy tonight, starting with Jan, more reserved, and well, I'm just gonna say it. Bill, you're up. Bill Lewis, everyone.
How could I possibly have imagined that I was going to be next up with an introduction like that? So I am doing a presentation for a youth leadership conference sponsored by the Rotary Club next month. And I wish to open with an inspiring speech. So I'm going to practice on you. A cool morning breeze crossed the hilltops where we stood, huddled together, waiting for the great man to arrive. There was a stage erected on the football pitch around which we gathered, vibrating in nervous anticipation of him. The entire village was there, along with others who had heard that he was coming. Everyone was mumbling and whispering as if not to disturb the ambiance, the feeling. Across the ridges, we could hear the chickens and the goats and the cows mooing. In Swahili, it's ng'ombe. I like it, it's so onomatopoeic. The sun behind us was peeking out from around Mount Kenya and bathing us in light. A farming village on the Aberdares facing Mount Kenya. It's perfumed with soil and aging manure piles and the smoke from the fires. It had a sweet smell to it, and 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people all crushed together have its own fragrance, waiting for the great leader. The man who struck the final blow for independence and freedom, the Mzee, the venerated one, our president, Jomo Kenyatta. Someone spotted a dust cloud in the far distance. The red clay of the Aberdares throw up a spectacular display, and there's more dust. And a black limousine, no, 2, 3, on the next ridge in the valley, now on our ridge. We are quivering in excitement. Soon, soon, soon. The guards mount the stage, inspect, and the Mzee, Jomo Kenyatta, steps up upon the stage. We go wild, screaming and yelling and clapping and hugging each other, jumping up and down. The women are doing that thing that they do with their tongues, and it is magical, and it is bedlam, and we are happy. The great man stands and bathes in the adulation. He raises his fly whisk, and there's instantaneous silence. Even Ng'ombe is quiet. He pauses, salutes the audience with his fly whisk, repeating those famous words which we have heard 1,000 times over the radio. Watu wa wote wa Kenya. People of Kenya, all people of Kenya. And again, we exploded and screamed and screamed and screamed. He then spoke to us and told us all the things that we knew he was going to say. The things he always said, how proud he was of us for building this wonderful country, the accomplishments, bringing the different tribes together, holding on to what was good in the world and in Kenya, and building the best country that ever existed. And we, the little ones, the farmers, the fishermen, the teachers, and us, the Peace Corps volunteers, we were all involved in building this wonderful country together. And it was wonderful. In the 10 years since independent, life for the average Kenyan had massively improved. People were happy, things were getting better and better. And I, the tiny part of it. I didn't join the Peace Corps for any great or noble purpose. I was graduating from college and I didn't really have any particular ideas about what to do. And the Peace Corps, well, it seemed like a good idea, and why not? Now, JFK, he was inspiring. He called on us to be our better selves. As a kid, he called on us in the president's fitness program to build our bodies. He created the Peace Corps out of nothing. He called on us to land a man on the moon within the time of this decade and return him to safety to Earth. And he said, we choose to do this, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. Because by doing hard things, you get skills, you get talents, you get connections, you become a better person. This is a conference about leadership. And I asked, what made Jomo Kenyatta and John F. Kennedy such great leaders? I cannot tell you. I can tell you that they both called on us to be our better selves. There were other men more positioned, more powerful, more capable of those positions, but it was Jomo Kenyatta and John F. Kennedy who inspired us. And in office, they were effective. Kenyatta brought the entire country together. Even my tribe, the Somalis. I taught high school, the exact intersection of Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia. And we had better lives than we had ever had before. Life was peaceful and prosperous. I wasn't doing anything very hard. I was just teaching, and I'm loving being there. I love my students. I love my fellow teachers. I love my neighbors, and I like camel meat. If you want to be great, it is up to you to do the things that are hard. Be the person who knows everything about whatever it is that you choose to study. Be the one that other people come to ask for advice, and the person that they asked will ask to lead them. The point is to be the one. Jomo Kenyatta, JFK were very flawed men. They were not true to their wives, and they liked living a little bit too high on other people's money. And yet they were successful. I don't know, but I do know that both of them ask us to do our part. And I will close now with John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And that is a speech that I intend to give with some edification. Voila! It's supposed to be inspiring.
Everyone feel inspired? That's Wednesday night. No, I'm kidding. Very, very well spoken, sir. And now, speaking of well spoken, we're going now to Nancy Dodson, one of our two phone participants tonight. So Nancy, if you press *6, we can hear your work.
Sickness and feelings about war. A sad day to be sick, and oh how I ache. The world dies around me. Why, Lord, kill me? I wish to live desperately each day in your creation, rejoicing gladness with every moment, not hating the day because of lack of energy to fight, a witness and a confidence to fight well and die for you, Lord. How I wish I could receive your blessing, Lord. So be it.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much. Good to have you on as always. And now, who do we have next? Felipe, do you want to read something tonight, or are you here just to listen? Felipe is a past Stone Soup host and organizer. Cosmic Orange Press, I believe, was the press he started with Lynn Stickler so many years ago. Helped photocopy one of my chapbooks, and now he's here with us tonight. And he remains muted. And possibly a mute. So, okay, I will get back to him later. Hopefully he's around. It'd be good to have him say hi to the old gang again. Now, where was I, if not with him? Yes, Mr. John Wesick, if you're willing to join us.
I'm willing to join you.
Or willing to read next, I should say.
I'm
I
willing
just
to-
decided to try and spout nonsense. If I don't know what to say, I just go out and say something, because I get really sick and tired of hearing myself go, "Hi guys, this is Stone Soup." If we had a drinking game, if it was the Stone Soup, Chad says drinking game, it would have to come with a Surgeon General's warning. So let's see, exactly. Yeah, all drink. Here we go. Luckily, I only have cocoa. The floor is yours. Thank you, John.
Twister. The funnel cloud tossed cows and tractor trailers around like Lego blocks, and twisted girders like the tangled cables in Father's junk drawer. I rushed toward the basement. Not so fast, Junior. Father blocked my path. You're not going anywhere until you clean out the gutters. But there's a tornado heading our way. That's just what big meteorology wants you to believe. Father propped a ladder against the roof's overhang. Look! I pointed at the tornado bursting craftsman houses like bubble wrap. It'll be here in a minute. What is truth really? Father tried to light his pipe, but the wind blew the matchbook out of his hands, followed by the pipe. Foucault said that so-called knowledge serves corrupt power structures, and quantum physics tells us that reality doesn't exist unless somebody looks at it. I looked at the pack of rabid wolves rounding the corner. Blood covered their lips that curled over 3-inch fangs. Anybody want lemonade? Mom carried a tray and the screen door banged shut behind her. What about the wolves? I asked. When it comes to violence, it takes two to tango. Mom handed me a glass. If you don't bother them, they won't bother you. But Mary Beth Johnson can't even do a box step, and they ripped her throat out and ate her liver. The way she dressed, she was asking for it. Mom glanced at the garage. How about a game of lawn darts after you clean the gutters? Great! Then we can throw darts at the fucking wolves! Junior, Father wagged his finger in my face. We don't use that kind of language.
Thank you, John. And up next, let's, I guess, I don't know if Felipe is joining us. Oops, someone's saying, oh, thank you, John. And let's bring up next, if Felipe is not there, let's bring up next Mr. Robert Fleming.
Good evening, I'm Robert Fleming, a visual poet from Delaware. And may I share the screen?
Oh, yes, one moment.
Thank you. And just a fun fact, the first 8 years of my work, I was a journalist for a newspaper. I worked for the Boston Globe, the Atlanta Journal, and CNN. And this first piece is a satire
Oh, here it is.
a journalist piece similar to the type that you would see on Saturday Night Live, Weekend Update. This is in response to the recent news of German Shepherd dogs being kicked out of the White House. US President Biden dispatched to outside the White House, October 5th, 2023. White House dog beat, reported by Robert Fleming. After multiple dog bites, United States President Joe Biden removed a second German Shepherd dog from the White House. Major was removed in October 2021 and Commander in October 2023. There was ongoing conflict over who guards the president, the Secret Service, or the German Shepherd dogs. The parties failed to achieve an interspecies guarding bill, resulting in the German Shepherd dogs lobbying with biting and the Secret Service filibustering with documentation. And then the photograph caption, Oval Office surveillance images reopened the biting investigation. And that goes out to another one of the journalists here with us tonight, Jane Rowe. These are some of my Halloween visual graphics, which were just published in Four Feathers Press recently. This one is called Perils, and it was inspired by the Michelangelo painting of the Sistine Chapel, where the hand of Adam and the hand of God touch. This one is called Wand Birth. In this one, the wand is in color. My upcoming book next month, White Noir, will be all black and white, and I will have this image in it, but the wand will be in white. And this is the follow-up to that, the imagining of the rise for the first time, called First Rise. Thank you for letting me share some of my newspaper satire and visual graphics, and greetings from Delaware.
Thank you, Robert. I'll also take this as a segue to remind people about the call for submissions from Oddball Magazine. Robert submitted some stuff I saw, and the rest of you are encouraged to submit your own poetry to the Horrorthon, which will be taking place next week, leading up to Halloween. And you have until midnight on October 22nd to submit your work. We've already seen a bunch of submissions to Oddball. I'd love to see a lot more, see some more art and prose and poetry represented. So please send it your way. If you have any questions, just ask me directly. Yeah, I think I went through that whole segue without one. Anyway, oh God, there, I shot myself in the foot with an All right, let's go now from Mr. Robert Fleming to Carol Weston, who I will help to unmute. Carol, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm very concerned about birthdays because I'm going to be reborn on October 29.
All right, happy birthday in advance.
Yeah. So a birthday is a diving board. The swan diver springs up, spreads arms wide, head back in continuum of sun and stars, and then dives forth right for the center of the earth and all knowledge hidden in those dark waters, and comes up refreshed. Anyway, that's so another one is to my mother, God bless her. The cliff. The way I grow is where you do not see me. The underwear that you laid out for me this morning no longer fits. The stilts you prepared for my walk into heaven are so far below me I can't reach them. Your voice echoes up the stone cliff after me. You will fall, and my hypnotized feet grow weak until I sing so loud I cannot hear, and then I climb. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. We missed you. It's good to have you back. Hope you stay for Lowe's feature tonight. Up next, let's welcome up Miss Jackie Chow.
Okay, so I'm gonna,
Sorry, I muted you by accident. I keep on doing that. I
no
gotta stop.
problem, no worries. I'm gonna read a poem that's published by Four Feathers Press. Specters at the Rosemead Community Center. I was once a girl, warm-cheeked, hands soft to the touch. You'd ask me to dance and I'd sway and swirl to the push and pull of your arms. Now there's no wind, no shadow, no rays of strobe light on the floor. Nor is there a sequin, a bead, a strip of chiffon from somebody's dress, a fallen crystal from a tiara. There is no footprint, no glitter from shoes, just my memories of father, mother, older sister, attending parties together, their faces glowing in my heart like specters. And the second poem is also a short poem. It's called The Dream. In my dream, I'm reaching for a star, namely Macy's store logo, 5-pointed red. I'm looking for white patent leather pumps, a shoe rack with a Clarence sign. But the soles of my cotton Mary Janes are stuck to the gum-spotted street, and my wallet is empty. I keep tossing sirloin to the lion, never asking for an edge, a point, anything. Thank you.
Did everyone hear me?
Yes,
Okay, good. Something's up with my sound, but as long as everyone else can hear everyone else, and I can tell because I'm connecting Carol by my phone. So looks like the show can go on, and I can still hear through the phone. So that's good. So we're gonna keep on going to the Generalissimo Brian Franco, if he is able to
I certainly am.
do
Yes,
something now. Welcome back, sir.
thank you. So I am leaving tomorrow for Easton, Pennsylvania, where I will be reading at the Easton Book Festival. I'll be reading for stick figure poetry on Saturday, and then for a I think it's a independent publisher showcase on Sunday. So this is called Leave It or Lump It, or Lump It or Leave It. This is where I leave you. It'll be a tough order. You've been around so long, it's like you're one of those little lumps a doctor takes an X-ray or MRI of and reports to the patient the lump is a twin that was deprived of nutrition, died in the womb, shrunk to the size of a cherry stone, and was fused to their brother or sister. There's no one I know who would not suffer emotional trauma from such information. I realize all the space your penchant for drama takes up is your methodology of turning me into one of those lumps. To be honest, as a result of seeing my current therapist, I am able to refuse to be your latest lump achievement. Today, I am wielding a psychological scalpel, performing a lumpectomy on myself by leaving you in the past. And we got two more. The final renunciation of a citizenship. She stared at the home she was raised in, a home her father carved from swampy woodland, a place that she should not feel foreign to her, but did. Her mother passed 3 years prior from emphysema, diagnosed over 30 years after quitting smoking. Her father remained there. She asked him to move in with her and the kids. He declined. He needed the familiarity of this structure, much of which came from trees on the land. The wide plank pecan wood floors were a slight pinkish color that qualified as muted rust. The rough-hewn ponderosa pine walls felt and looked like cedar, but smelled sweeter. The porch railing, which was originally metal, was replaced with crepe myrtle branches harvested from trees her mom asked her dad to plant, that he crepe murdered 4 years later. He committed crepe murder every other year since and fashioned branches into canes he gave as gifts to elderly friends and relatives or sold at the church holiday bazaar. This now empty home was a rebirth of things taken from the land. Now empty of both her parents' furniture and bric-a-brac, she relinquished its future to a real estate agent. She walked across the floors. She ran her fingers along the walls. The stairs still had a telltale squeak on the fourth to last step. After she realized the hand-scrolled molding in her childhood bedroom was a love letter from father to daughter, a warm tear rolled down her left cheek, and its memory sweetened her sleeping dreams for years. Just one more. It's called Why My Life is an Endless Loop of Cliches. As a chronically clumsy individual, it is not uncommon for me to find myself stumbling over my words, ending up from simply misspeaking. And whilst I lay there in phantom paralysis, my words are running around in circles like chickens with their heads cut off, creating havoc in my life. Sometimes they run and run till they tire themselves out, but there are times it seems like they've juiced themselves with Lance Armstrong steroids to turn my life into a Tour de France downhill leg, causing me to tumble, crashing against anyone close to my path of least resistance, resulting in a most messy domino effect situation that ends up like a tangled pile of spaghetti that must be carefully cut in several different places to untangle the tangled web I wove in order for me to find any semblance of order, to find a way for me to find the right words, to right a wrong that didn't have to happen if only I had decided to think before I spoke. Gracias.
Thank you, Brian. And I'm going to ask one more time if Felipe would be interested. If you could type something in, whether if not you'd be interested in reading or saying something, Felipe. It's good to see your name on the Zoom call again. Okay, I'm going to assume he's just listening or in the other room listening and can't reach out to us. So my next move is to go to our musical interlude. Mr. Ethan Mackler, good to have you back, sir. Let's hear you do your best. Thank you, Ethan. And thanks to everyone who's been listening so far, came here to listen. We have a new person who I think joined us, or they may have just jumped off again. Still trying to figure it out. Yeah, looks like they jumped off again. Okay, so. Oh, looks like we actually have a Kenny Lickus. If you're interested in reading, let me know. You are? Then let's
I'm
hear
in
you do so. How'd you hear of us?
Well, I know Lo, and
Ah.
so that's how. And I came to hear Reed. We had company and I lost track. So I'm sorry to join you late, but glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here, whatever time you got here. So if you want to take some time to do a poem reading, you're more than welcome to do so now.
I'll pass for a minute. I'll see what else is going on, but thank you.
Okay. Well, we are just about to finish what would have been our last person on the open mic. If you want to read after the feature, you can do that, but let me know. But for now, let's go to our poet, longtime friend of Stone Soup and Oddball Magazine's poet columnist. You can ask about his column, It's All One Thing, or you can just see it on oddballmagazine.com every Thursday morning at 11 o'clock. Let's welcome up James Van Looy.
Thanks, Chad. Yeah, so I have a piece here called Digital Display. The digital display in the upper station said BRD board. So I run in and down to the platform, into the train, already with others waiting. And then without announcement, the train sits there for about 30 minutes. And no one is surprised until someone looking at phones says, there was a report of fire down on the tracks. And when we do finally start moving, the train so stops at every station, standing, waiting for more minutes with doors still open and train getting more crowded, all the seats filling up. And it's raining when we get to the elevated track, inching along, me looking out at the hills of Dorchester and seeing Ronan Park, beneath which I lived for 5 years, blizzard of 78. To 83 Reagan years of full institutionalization of neoliberalism, Margaret Thatcher's Tina, there is no alternative, back when alternative had just been alternative everything. And I can't believe we're going so slow and everyone just gets still. They might be waiting for the apocalypse, but we're all riding together for once and for all. And today, mysterious, they're not in their phones or playing those video games and electronic puzzles or anything except sitting there together, going into town, peaceful, amid all the old wars in the wet sky world with a massive climate change storm still. Peace, so peaceful. And here's a little song for you. It's only 4 stanzas. This is from Allen Ginsberg's New Stanzas for Amazing Grace. Allen Ginsberg. I dreamed I dwelled in a homeless place where I was lost alone. Folk looked right through me into space and passed with eyes of stone. Oh, homeless and on many a street, except this change from me, a friendly smile or word is sweet as fearless charity. Oh, working man who hears the cry and cannot spare a dime, nor look into that homeless eye, afraid to give the time. So rich or poor, no gold to talk, a smile on your face. The homeless ones where you may walk, receive amazing grace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. And if no one else wants to read right now, we will go on to our feature. Another reminder that Rick McIntyre is going to be the feature for next week to close us out for Halloween, because the following Wednesday after next is November 1st. And I'll be announcing the November features very shortly. Hoping to have at least two good friends back to comment, to do a lot of poetry on the state of affairs and what's going on right now. There's some impassioned poets out there who have read with us before that I haven't had back since the days of the Stone Soup Coffee, the Stone Soup gathering at, I believe it was called Brew on the Grid, back in Cambridge. I think it was 2017, 2018. That seems like forever ago. But hopefully we'll get our friends back. And I'll be able to announce their dates very soon. But I hope I'm glad you're all here tonight, and I hope you guys come back next week. Tonight, we have the pleasure of featuring Lo Galluccio. It's her first Stone Soup related feature in 5 years, and her first time at the Stone Soup proper and as a feature, and many more, because the last Stone Soup feature she did, it was actually related to the Stone Coast Review, which was done at the Dudley Cafe down in Nubian Square. So it's been a while. It's been too long. I'm so glad that she is here featuring tonight. Lo has been a longtime friend of Stone Soup, everything from the open mics to the workshops we used to do, to just supporting the gallery in general. And I'm glad I have some updatable video for her. I've been catching video of her since I think 2009, if I'm correct. 2008, 2009. You can still find a lot of Lo clips on YouTube, and it's always been a pleasure to capture her. And I'm so glad that one of the benefit, if you can call it a benefit, one of the advantages of the pandemic is that now I can record everyone for prosperity thanks to the power of YouTube and Zoom. So I'm always grateful for that. What follows is the standard boilerplate for Lo's feature tonight. Lo Galluccio is a writer and a vocalist whose most recent work was just released on Savannah Barbara Press, called Not for Amnesia. Other work includes Hot Rain on Ibbotson Street Press, a prose poem memoir on Savannah Barbara Press called Sarasota 7, and a chapbook called Terrible Baubles on Propaganda Press. She served as poet populist of Cambridge between 2013 and 2015 and got her MFA in creative writing from Stone Coast in 2019. She lives in Cambridge with her aloof Tabby Lucy. Her writings and reviews can be found at www.logalluccio.weebly.com. Her 3 CDs are on Spotify and Amazon Prime. Worth listening to, I can tell you. So we are very thrilled to have her back. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together 30, 40 times for Lo, and I can shut up and she can do what she does best.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Great to hear people tonight. I really enjoyed the open mic. And thanks, Chad, for having me. It's been a long ass time. So I'm going to read from the chapbook, Not for Amnesia, that Gloria Mindock just published. I'm going to bookend it with some new pieces. The first one is kind of a persona piece, and I don't write many persona pieces, but I was inspired watching Godfather 3. Sonny Corleone's son is in that movie, and I always hearken back to Connie's wedding in Godfather 1 when Sonny is banging his mistress against the door upstairs. And I sort of envisioned that out of that tryst came a girl daughter. I think his mistress's name was Lucia. But anyway, this poem is called Sonny Corleone's Daughter. The only gift I accept from lovers is black lingerie from that little boutique in the East Village. I have a raven tattoo and one that says Daddy Forever above my breasts. Uncle Michael got me a good job as a cocktail waitress. My temper is triggered by rolling eyes, a wrong turn going home, a curse, even a dust ball in the corner. Then I smash a glass or shatter an ashtray. I have a French manicure. I have crystal violet rosary beads. I buy a rose for St. Lucy every Sunday, usually yellow, sometimes pink, because I'm blind in one eye. I see my father in a white t-shirt and suspenders sweating over a pot of spaghetti, the gun stuck in the back of his navy blue pants. I bring daffodils to his grave because they flounce like I did when I was a little girl. Tell him what I'm up to. He wants me to marry a lawyer. I have my tooth whitened, but would never have a boob job. Sometimes I'm a lady facing two doors in a coliseum. One leads to a convent, the other to an orgy. I dream of Romans. I dream of blood. And this next piece is also one that was written within the last year. And it's a sonnet after Diane Seuss called Fernando. I used to say his name as I pressed down on my clit in tiny circles, imagining his hands vying for me, whispered, "Am I a good girl?" breathing chlorophyll into mud. It was years after our wild mating in New York. His wide black eyes shuddered with lust, his opening me like a sunrise in Miami or the cherry smoke from a lit cigar. I needed his flesh, his penetration, like I needed a collaboration with the grave of night. His horse always a phone call away, his needle making him a monstrous alien. That brown serum heated to collude with desire, with eerie distance. And even when I decided it would have been better to lock him out, I still invited the phantasm of his love back in. I'm the baby doll, the queen bee, the shattering mermaid. We are riding wild zebras and singeing the wind. We are so broken and gone. We were never even a couple, just a phenom of black hearts melting into gasoline, a funny fuel. Every time you disappear, you return a different Halloween sprite, treat, goblin, god. I gobble myself up to reignite. Maybe I should have rated that poem X for drugs and sex, but I didn't, so I hope it didn't offend anybody. I'll read a little bit from the chapbook now. It is called Not for Amnesia. And the first poem I'll read is called Solitaire A. I wonder now at all my lost strength and the illusion of it, how I grew phony eyes of green and never paused to know it. I wonder with these skies so hot and gray and still, I wonder how I lost them for the beauty of one pill, for love and all its vastness, for love and all its pain. I wonder, will I love and couple with a man, a bird, a brain? Will I love again? So this collection was written in 1989, mostly in Brooklyn, New York, after a breakup. And I vowed never to write about ex-boyfriends again, but I seem hopelessly immersed in the task. But I was also just trying to survive in New York City at the time as an artist. And this next poem is called The Piper. It's about having a hangover. You whine for sleep, your mouth sawing itself, and curse what splinters your head, a forgotten language. Ache for baptism, dread the game of day, sniffing its corridor for clear water and salvation. Anything to defeat vibrations of civilization, you come to lost. Ready to squeeze his morning juice from traces at your throat. In his gaze, fire fades to smoke, sacking your lungs like a botched theatrical effect. A cold so thorough it rains, slugs your senses. No parasol of memory to smatter its fists. And this is a short poem about therapy, bad therapy. It's called The Sphinx. You're wrapped and gathered, writing, a lipstick smile, legs under you pelican-like, the swell of your bosom again. Your grandfather a god and clock we ration our voices to, ticking up my lore in mahogany shine. After flat chants, dim sum phrases, I go home a waiter from a bad shift, grotesque, no good tips. This is a poem that I wrote watching a couple have a fight on the street in Brooklyn. It's called Burial Ground. Because she may break, he waits, and the trees stiffen in all directions. Folded against the building like something collapsible, her long hair, a black stream. He looks down on her curse as limbs drying the sky. The tree is planted singly, not herded onto reservations. She is the Navajo, the girl. Will she remain cradling her bones against the cement? What of rain falling from her face? The fish that may leap from her hair. This is a poem I wrote about my ex called On Bugs. The outpour of impressions, he can't stand that. A calliope of other people's words I blow, shuts him like Venetian blinds in the sun. Snatches, I repeat, a machine on record, then play. Too solid to absorb miscellany, he hates bugs, defying his shield of concentration, zeroing in to prick him. They don't rattle me. A jungle inside, I may switch into a snake, disdaining desserts, and swallow the rats whole. Okay, I'll just read maybe two more from the book. This is called Quarantine. Blue feet, scales up the back, hot dimes in shoulder blades, a name for love like ammonia, January, fear. When I awake, unions far removed. In one butterfly wing I dreamt, the space of your nose distant, a taste in your mouth filament. Some toothless god smiling, the goddess twines your Chelsea cave. No matter how long, deep, or wet, our souls are shy of meshing, and we're the meshing kind. Steep white like Andes, cattle bone of moans, a sea black rattling, crackling roses or popcorn poses engraved. We are saved. We are saved. And this is, I guess this is the last poem I'll read from the chapbook. It's called Self-Pity with Lipstick. I was a girl who ran at the fudge, dove for the race lines, ground through some glory, now can't budge. A girl, a sick angel behind her, spurred her, stirred her, bound and tied her to a long death glider. A girl with a rage and a sting, took sick in the ring, lost her place on the page, in search of a sage fanning fling. Bad Brooklyn in my face, hungering for enchantment, a boiling brook to cook the brew of my encampment. Amnesia whisper voices for deliverance and form, cleave to form, your nipples kip there. Let content slip bare, let it drip through the silver sieve. Truth slither a dither a do, jiggle pieces, slash beef, make do. Suck the whip, girl, you. Okay. So this next poem is sort of related to the chapbook. It was written this past year, and it's about the same relationship. And it's a bit of a different take on it, called The Steak and the Rose. I began writing poetry that summer in Lucky's house after he said, I can't do this anymore. I killed him with my tears and he swooned like Agnes of God, bleeding from the nose. We lived in a glass house with no doors, but they slammed often, and I didn't appreciate the Progresso soups we'd had since Chicago, his lovely scarred bareback and black hair. It started when he saw me in Mem Hall after a lecture on the Mexican Revolution. His girlfriend accused me of stealing him, and speechless, a coward, I just backed away. I gave him a Max doll from Where the Wild Things Are and asked him to fuck me like Sonny Corleone against the door standing up. And he did, many times. Heartlessly, I told my friend he was like chocolate ice cream compared to my last boyfriend, when really he was the steak. He was the steak, like Paul Newman said about Joanne Woodward. They mated for life and never stabbed each other in the back. When one was the rose, the other was the gardener, and so forth for at least 5 decades. Hold on to that one, my mother should have said, shaken me like a bag of rice, splashed freezing water on my feet. That way it wouldn't have ended. That way I would have been a bride instead of writing this poetry. I was the prickly rose, he was the steak, and he was the bloody steak, I the elegant rose. Maybe we died together that day. Better to be a poet. And I don't know how I'm doing on time. I was timing myself. This is a cento, which you may know is a poem taken from the lines of other poets. And this is the last poem I'll read. It's called Black Friday Cento. I want to be like those poets who care about the moon. Another book, more air between us? Who are you to say who must leave, who can stay? Or the sky called and wants its children back, but the earth is a selfish tantrum holding on to toys that don't belong to it. My babe barbed heart. One died of a canceled dream. I heard killing in the shadows, knew how to turn, keen and quick, how to atomize. When I die, I promise to haunt you forever. The sky unbuttons its jeans. I want to be like those poets who care about the moon. Thank you.
I put up my virtual applause. The rest of you can clap how you like for Lo Galluccio. Thank you so much for amazing reading, and I have at least one question for you.
Sure.
What made you wait this long to release a book like this? I think you said you wrote it in the late 90s.
I wrote most of this chapbook in, I think it was 89 in Brooklyn.
Oh, wait, late 80s, good Lord.
Yeah, it was always a collection. And I, for one reason or another, Hot Rain just got put together here in Boston, and Doug Holder published that collection. I guess I felt a little stronger about that work. There are a lot of rhyming poems in Hot Rain, and this just sort of got buried in my file cabinet. And then I thought, maybe I could publish this, maybe it's worth it. And I told Gloria it was early work, and I don't know if you know Mark Zegans, but I sent it to him, and he said, yeah, I think it's good, but it is early work, so I don't know, it's up to you. If you want to publish this now. And Gloria wanted to, so I said, yeah, let's do it. And that's how it got published. So it's just a lesson, to hold on to stuff, you never know.
I'm still trying to send out poems that are a decade old. What changes, if any, did you make to the manuscript? Was there any touches that you made revisiting it?
No, not really. I left about 4 poems out of the manuscript that belong in the manuscript. And that was just like my own weird oversight. I didn't read them tonight, but no, I really didn't change anything. I just ordered the poems. Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
what other secret manuscripts do you think you have? Has that caused you to look at other stuff, or just try and dig up more stuff out, just with the advantage of time?
I think I would just as soon publish new stuff, next time around. I'm in Tom Daly's workshop. I've been in his workshop for a while, and so this poem, Mistake in the Rose, came from the workshop, and so did Fernando, that sonnet. We were studying Diane Seuss, and I know Kenny's a big fan of her work, and so am I. So I wrote a bunch of sonnets after her book, Frank. You probably know she won the Pulitzer last year.
Yes.
Yeah, for her.
And I was just
collection.
actually, it's a crazy coincidence, because I was just looking up her work this morning. Her dancing on her husband's grave, her former lover's grave. I forget the name of the title, of course, now that I'm pressed to say it, but yeah, it's just kind of a crazy coincidence. I was going through her stuff, and now there's a link. So that's actually pretty amazing. I congratulate you for the book. And were you nervous about publishing something that old, or?
No, not really. I mean, I have some ambivalence towards it, but I'm trying to embrace it. Yeah, I wanted people to understand that it's early work, because in some ways the poetry is pared down, and it just has a different cast to it than some of my later poems. But it's okay. It's okay. I think it thematically holds together as a collection. So.
Wow. And on that note, I just got notice from Gloria Mindock, who is looking forward to seeing the recorded form, and so she couldn't make it tonight because she was hosting a Savannah Barbara Press reading with some Romanian authors. So she wanted to give you her best.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. I was at her reading last night. She did a reading last night, and it was really, really good.
Wow, a lot of exciting things going on.
Yeah, and I'm doing a reading on the 27th, a book launch for Savannah Barbara Press think Richard Cambridge and Julia Carlson will be joining me for that reading.
So I'm
Both-
thinking naturally you'd like us all to go visit the website right now and buy the book. Or would you prefer us to PayPal you and you can send copies of the book, or would you rather us just Venmo you cold cash? What's your preference?
I don't have Venmo, so that
Oh.
won't work. I don't care. I don't have extra copies of the book right now, so probably just go to Trevena Barber Press, the Lost Bookshelf.
Do you
if
have a
wanna get
PayPal?
copy. Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, if you
I
want to
do.
send your PayPal link, if anyone wants to donate for tonight's reading, definitely, you could definitely send that in.
Okay.
And I do encourage people who do have cash, to just send a couple of bucks. But you can do that later, or you can do it, or you can send it via Facebook Messenger link, and I can post it tomorrow morning as I usually do with the celebratory photo of having put another one of these in the can. Oh, Galluccio@gmail.com is the PayPal. So if anyone wants to, like I said, donate a couple of bucks, used to charge $5 for Stone Soup. If anyone has a few bucks to send your way, you have PayPal, you have Venmo, you have Cash App, you can do it. PayPal, I think everyone has. I think it's the law at this point. So I hope you support Lo and in appreciation for tonight's reading, and definitely grab a copy of the book as well. Kenny, would you like to read? Would you like to be the one to send us off for the night?
Well, I really had come just to hear Lo, and so I hadn't thought about reading. So I will pass, but I appreciate the invitation.
Well,
Okay.
you're definitely welcome anytime after this. We meet every Wednesday night, and there's going to be more new people coming, more work, hopefully more Savannah Barbara poets, and hopefully some younger audience people, thanks to my Fisher College connection. We'll be making announcements, and I'll be making hints to that. It's Fisher College, and we were having a conversation before the recording stopped of when Stone Soup is going to gather live again, and hopefully Fisher College will have something happen, and hopefully we'll be getting some younger viewers to the show. So thank you again to Lo. Another virtual round of applause from everyone, and definitely grab a copy of her new book and
Thanks.
check
Good
out
to
her
see
book.
everyone.
What's that?
Good to see everyone. Ethan, great to see you. Yeah.
Great to see everyone. Here we do with the obligatory wave, the wave goodbye. This looks good for the photo, and we pause because a waving photo just is hard to catch or hard to screen capture. Thank you guys very much. Next week's feature. Wait a second. First, obligatory smile and wave. Okay, and our feature for next Wednesday is Rick McIntyre, and hopefully coming from a special location. And we'll still be Zooming, but he'll be coming from a very special location if all goes well. More of that will be announced as I get his bio, hopefully tonight. Send to the Horathon call for submissions for oddballmagazine.com. They just revamped the website, looks really good, and the submission tab is a little easier to find. If anyone wants to send something and can't figure out the oddball system, send it to me. But I know John submitted, I know Robert submitted, I know other people, Stone Supers and outsiders have also submitted, people who don't even know Stone Soup and Oddball have sent stuff, and I'm hoping it's a good fun week. We'll be working on the Horathon banner with TJ Edson, as we always do, and some people have submitted art as well. So if you want to spread the word, I'd appreciate it, and stay tuned to the Stone Soup Facebook page. Tomorrow, I've been making a tradition of posting calls for submissions from various sites. If you go and scroll down on the Stone Soup Facebook page, you can see previous calls for submissions from past weeks. There's a couple of Halloween themed submissions. Cosmic Dandelion, I believe, is accepting presses. Gnashing Teeth Publishing is doing an online collection of Halloween poems. The deadline is soon. So by all means, and they're based on prompts for really spooky art. So I hope you all consider looking at those, and of course submit to Oddball Magazine first, because I play favorites, but check out all the submissions. And Lo, thank you for a wonderful reading tonight. Can't wait to grab a copy of this book, and good luck with the actual official book release.
Thanks so much, Chad, for having me.
Thanks,
It's really a
everybody.
pleasure to be here.
Thanks to all of you. Shout out to Gloria Mindock, who'll be listening to this tomorrow. It can be like this every week. All we need is you. The show's over. See you next time. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks for coming, everyone.